pretty soon. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Hey, how's everybody doing? It's me, Sean Tank Top. We're over here in House Burlington. Actually, not necessarily in House Burlington, in Casa de Burlington. We also have we have Casa de Ahype and Casa de Drace over there. What's going on? What's going on, Draces?
Hey, everybody.
What's going on, y'all? Hope you guys are doing.
What's going on?
Right, this is what's going on.
Those days.
It's been one of those days, and we have the man, the myth, the legend, the man in flannel, Azor Genre. I like that pivot from the nickname. We got Kyle from Azor Ahype. Very, very good to see you, sir. How you holding up, sir?
How many years have you aged this week?
This week?
Yeah, that's the big question, everyone.
Well, it's like. Well, the other thing is, it's like I think also another thing that people have been doing. Everybody's been doing that share your senior photo, thing on Facebook, and it's like like you kind of you take a look at it side by side, and it kind of feels that way. Like when I started, when it started 2020, I was young and full of hope and getting ready to take on the world, and now it's like now we're stuck inside and. I've worn pants for the first time in 3 days and shit, like there's a lot of that going on.
Yes.
What's that?
Yeah. I made sure I wore pants.
I have shorts on today. I have shorts on right now, even though we had some fucking snow come through Chicago last night.
We had like a foot of snow the other night.
Yeah,
so
I think.
Yeah, we were completely covered in snow this morning. Was it this morning?
Yeah, there's still snow on the ground right now.
Can always tell if we have to take the dogs out, and I was like, "What the fuck? It's snow."
It was like it was a big, heavy. It was a really pretty snow. I'll give it that. It was like this
beautiful.
Yeah, it was lovely, but it was just like
having one weekend where it's like 70 degrees and everybody's like in the parks in shorts, and then when they shouldn't be.
Yeah,
the mayor has to drive around and yell at you.
The weather is schizophrenic.
It's cold.
It is. Yeah, there's definitely like a bipolar nature to like how the weather's has been. Even though I gotta say, I wouldn't be opposed to having, if we're gonna be in a fucking pandemic, let's fucking have some cold hunker down weather. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a weird winter summer.
Yeah, like I mean, like if we're ever gonna do it, and God knows that we've gotten a couple of those in Chicago, because as they say in Chicago, if you don't like the weather, just wait 15 minutes. And that's very true. That's very true for us, for sure.
Well, I live right on Lake Superior. I don't know. I like to call it the lands of always winter for how much snow. I think we're in like the top 3 or 4 in Canada. The amount of snowfall we get every year. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, like if there was ever a time to get that kind of cozy, hunkered down vibe, at least give me some snow, and then that way, like I can put on movies like The Thing and The Shining and like all that type of shit. You know what I mean? Like we can.
We're gonna talk about The Shining after, because there was a reference to a genre.
That ties right into it, man. That's a great segue. That ties right into it. So we're talking about season 3, episode 5. The name of this episode is called Genre. I remember I did notice when I pulled it up on HBO, on the HBO app or whatever. It said everything. It was like episode 5 genre. And then it said, "Just say no." Like what? That was the only description. That was the only episode description.
Weird, because it's not usually that. The episode descriptions aren't usually that like
sparse and kind of knowingly kind of like playful, I guess, or something like that. You know what I mean? I thought that was an interesting touch, and I would probably venture to say that I think like the most important I'd say there's the story elements that are important, but as far as like some of the things that had the most presence, I'd say probably the 2 biggest things were like kind of Serac, because there's a good chunk of the episode is literally just kind of finding out his backstory. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like almost half of his episode, basically, where we really kind of figure out exactly what makes this dude tick and everything. And then the other star of the show was just the fucking music. Music was the star of the show. Like, and music is so.
And Aaron Paul. I mean, those are the three.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Those are the big three. Aaron Paul like killed it this episode.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it was like he was working in tandem with the music, like his performance and the things that Caleb was going through. And then it was just so integrally tied to the music cues that the show is kind of trafficking in.
They've really showcased an actor per episode. Like they did Tessa Thompson episode 2.
She had hers.
Dolores, like we had Evan Rachel Wood. I mean, every episode she's a superstar. But like they've kind of done these like episodic.
Maeve definitely had like an episode where she was kind of like running the show. Like the premiere, the season premiere, I would say was Dolores's episode. At like, Ed Harris kind of commanded a lot of episode 4. You know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of cool in that way where it's like they kind of can put like this insignia, and kind of have one actor, not one actor, but like not necessarily one actor, but have them just kind of lead the way as far as like where we're looking and kind of and what we're doing as far as that type of stuff, which is cool,
not to jump too completely all the way to the end, but did you guys watch the little featurette at the end of the episode?
I think
behind the scenes. I watched a trailer, not the behind the scenes. Though.
I didn't see the behind the scenes. So drop some knowledge on us.
Was really great because it was one of the showrunners was talking about when they asked Vincent Cassell to play Serac. And he's like looking at the script, and they're like, he's obviously a very,
I did see that. Sorry, they did it.
Very strong, kind of character with a lot of, and Vincent Cassell was like, I see why you wanted me to play him. Yeah, exactly.
He's a beautiful man. He's another beautiful man.
Have like that. He has like that very, very like a distinctly French, like kind of like I'm not like classically handsome, but I am fucking handsome. You know what I mean? In the way that he's
so confident. He looks confident.
Exactly. 100%. And so like, and he definitely like controlled, like he was definitely like in control of like all of those scenes. I will say, given like how much like language and like his ability to kind of pivot from French to Portuguese. I think he speaks Portuguese to the one I think president that he was talking to.
President of Brazil,
yeah, and then like Brazilian, and then he pivots back to English and whatever it was. I was kind of getting some Christoph Waltz vibes from like Inglourious Bastards.
Oh yeah,
like just in like how and I was kind of like, oh, I could totally have seen them possibly. Like him reading for that role and being able to do it. It kind of would have been a little bit on the nose because
isn't he a European as well?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Specifically, they picked a European for the role.
Yeah, they wanted a very kind of like very cosmopolitan kind of worldly sort of pick for this role, I think. And so it was definitely I got that kind of vibe. But then of course it's like he's done it so well in so many movies before, it kind of would have been distracting because it'd be like, wait a minute, you mean Dolores wants to take over the world? And he would have been like, that's a bingo, you know what I mean? He wouldn't do all that type of shit. Like, all that type of shit. But like but I did think that he did a fantastic job. And again, like we've kind of, we don't mean to keep bringing up, making references to a show that you have yet to check out, but definitely getting from his origin story when we see the nuke that went off in Paris, just giant like Ozymandias vibes from Watchmen. Like I need to make the uncertain certain. I need to wrangle this wild world. That like, what did you guys think about that?
No, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking. So I'm like, oh man, why didn't Ozymandias create this technology?
Right, totally. Yeah. I mean, as far as like the impetus for his character, I mean, it's pretty clear and it's pretty strong. What would you say about that, Kyle?
Well, the one thing that I really liked is we have seen two different sides of him. We've seen this really empathetic side, this like familial thing that they've been trying to like how important his brother in France and humanity is to him. But then again, these things, these outliers, he's like obsessive about those things.
Yeah.
And that causes him to kind of have this evil twin. And we're seeing all this mirror stuff going on this season.
Oh yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that this shit was directed by fucking David Lynch with the amount of like duality that is like kind of like put into this story at this point,
The one thing I really do like is, Dolores is like, there's going to be human casualties in the things she's doing. You know what I mean? So there's some level of antagonism to Dolores that we have to consider. Like, oh, okay, like she's not really a good guy.
Right.
She wants to exterminate humanity, and at the same time, they're kind of trying to make us empathize with Serac. And I know, I think all of us here have spoke about it privately. This whole deterministic thing going into the future with watching our data,
right?
And
right.
like that is a scary thing. So there is this kind of like duality thing that they're trying to play with, this like yin and yang of each character going in each episode. So I love that. I loved the ability that them trying to make us empathize with Serac.
Totally, yeah. I mean, like, and you can kind of see where it comes from, and also kind of where it's kind of like both. We have essentially kind of two. There, as you're talking about mirrors, and like you have like kind of like two people with competing visions of the world, with like Dolores and Serac, and then you kind of have like the instruments that you're using within Maeve and then within Caleb are kind of like. They're both kind of instruments within their plans, you know what I mean? Like, and like, and I thought that it was really, they're both like, she's trying to bring like, give like humanity to like machines and her kind, and he's trying to kind of extract the human element out of society in a weird way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The chaotic uncertainty of it,
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Because when she released the information, like we're going a little bit forward in the episode from Rehoboam, when she kind of just like let the world know about what Insight was doing, a lot of those tablets were 10 to 12 years. Like they just kind of, they decided that, hey, they don't like, you could see like at the top where it would say like, won't be a big part of society, like that they won't like make a major impact. Sure. And most of them have 10 to 12 years. So you got to wonder if like those loops that they were putting them on were 10 to 12 years where they were trying to get like, you know what I mean? Like, because it was essentially a eugenics program that they're running, really.
Kind of, sort
of. It said recessive trait eliminate on one of them, and I was like,
yeah, right, absolutely.
Okay.
Right, and that was definitely, or like, and then you kind of find out like that, like those are the ones that we determined we're going to send them to like overseas to war or something like that, where he literally uses, I think he says like, it chop them up in a wood grinder or something like that. Wood chipper, right.
And then the scene switched to Caleb after that, which is interesting.
Morgan said something to me right when that happened. I was like, oh man, can you imagine getting that shit? Like, yeah, but what if it just said totally down ass bro, wood hang with, have a drink with this dude?
Where's the one guy who got like the one where it's like totally fucking awesome, bro?
Yeah.
He's gonna be like successful in everything he does.
What's up?
Yeah.
Did you see the one executive guy says like total loser, asshole? Like this is what people say behind his back.
All of the employees hate him.
Which is why I was like that was when I came up with the idea where I was like, oh, like what's the opposite of that? Is there somewhere some like I would be a bartender? I bet.
Yeah.
Be a bartender.
It'd be Sean Tank Top.
John Tank Top just goes, and he's just looking down at his phone and just goes, sweet.
Right, like they weren't all like, I mean, I think it's more about like kind of just the knowing like how it happens. Like, wouldn't it be kind of nice if it's like you're gonna die, like when you're 78 years old, surrounded by your family and friends, and the guy's like, okay, cool, you know what I mean? Like,
whatever.
it's like,
what are you gonna do?
There was definitely like, it was definitely like the world's like, or I'm sure that there were some people that like, imagine like the guy who like went in to like go take a shower or whatever it is inside of like that 20 minutes where where Dolores like sent like the biggest fucking craziest spam email, like chain email ever, and then like he just comes over and all of a sudden like bikes are on fire and people are throwing fucking bricks into the window and shit. He's like, oh my god, what the fuck happened?
No, it's just the Donald Glover gif a pizza fire.
Totally.
I found the single best Easter egg out of any episode ever.
Oh, hell yeah. What you got?
Okay, so you know when Dolores is like standing in front of Caleb and she gets shot? Right before that car pulls up, there's an old man on the bike, and it's an homage to Einstein riding his bike, but he's on an electric scooter, and it's the exact same thing. And I was like, whoa. And I slowed down the shot, and I'm like, you know that old picture of Einstein riding in circle around a bike? It totally looks like him. And I'm like, so I wonder how many people caught that. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's just like loving his electric scooter, and it's like,
yeah, man.
I feel like the people, like the kids who were like hanging off the car and like doing all that crazy shit.
Down the
I'm like, I'm wondering, did they learn that they're gonna live forever? Like, oh, they don't die till 88, and so they're like, fuck yeah, now it's time to hold on to a car.
They looked at the thing and they're like, cool, I'm asymptomatic, and then they fucking went the fuck up. They fucking started rolling out. You know what I mean?
Either that, or they learned they're gonna die of an aneurysm in a year, so they're like, fuck.
Yeah, right. Totally.
I don't know which one it is, but
yeah, right. Yeah, I'm jerking off in public and shitting in the street, man. Like I don't give a shit what's going on. Not my bucket list. I mean, like I'm just
take off the glasses for that one. And
you were talking about you were talking about an Easter eggs, and that was the thing that I caught in the background in one of the shots. You didn't see it, but it was just this guy
jerking off.
There's a guy like in a big like Charles Bukowski bathrobe with a cigarette, just pulling the pork.
What?
You know what I mean? No, I'm joking. Of course it didn't happen.
I seriously thought that was. I believed you.
This is hot for YouTube.
It's too highbrow of a show. Like I don't think that.
Well, I don't know. James Delos, when they were doing the fidelity test, he was doing the thing in the bed while he was reading Kurt Vonnegut of all.
Sure, yeah. Well, maybe I was having kind of like. What is it? Some of the there. I will say this. There is kind of like there was like a very macabre kind of like sense of humor that the first and second seasons kind of have that hasn't really been at play as much. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think that most of that necessarily like. I don't think that it worked all the time, but occasionally it was a nice bit of levity. Like, yeah, remember you had like those two like tech guys where it's like, man, we got to clean all the cum out of these fucking giant things. You know, remember like all that shit that they were talking about and stuff. That's kind of largely been jettisoned from this show. Thankfully, I think for the most part, but occasionally I would get a laugh out of some shit like that. Like another thing, like off the bat, like as far as like some of the like the flashbacks that we get, I just want to do a slow clap for just hiring a younger fucking actor to play a role as opposed to like putting on like a weird de-aging thing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was just kind of cool because I thought that the casting was really cool and it was fun.
No, they were good.
Yeah, and it was fun to find out like the basically like the backstory and find out about this brother and stuff. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff.
He's from the show 300, so I was surprised to see him because that's more of a teen, like that's more of a like, you know what I mean, not as mature of a show, but in that he didn't get much of a speaking part, but I thought it was really well done.
He was definitely, you can definitely tell he was like hired for a step.
Yeah. I mean, like, you guys feel that there was like the dynamic between the brothers was very homoerotic. Like there was a lot of like very like close face touching.
Oh, sure.
Like, they were like this close to kissing it. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, his relationship with the brother just like didn't. It was very strange. I couldn't really tell.
No, they're French, Dustin.
It's
really true. Like they're just different. They're like,
the one. Oh, sorry. I was
like, you'll watch a French movie sometimes, and you're like, oh, are they gonna bang? And then you're like, no, wait, they're brothers. Like,
they're just like a little
son. More. It's just different. It's a different.
And they kiss each other on the cheek and stuff in Europe, like Italian, French, like.
Yes, very true. Yeah, all that stuff. But
he was touching him a lot, though. Like, didn't they say he got like radiation poisoning, so that like messed up his brain?
Yeah.
So he was like, already like sensitive enough to the things they were researching because he was the one that actually discovered that Rehoboam could read the past and calculate the past. So he must have discovered like something of like how the Big Bang started or something like that. Like he discovered something about the universe that made him like so scared that just like completely broke him as a person.
And
like,
he definitely, and he definitely like there was, you could tell that he was like not, he was a little bit more of like the savant. Like he was the one that I was getting like a kind of like a Steve Jobs and Wozniak type of a vibe, where it's like you could tell like the brother maybe kind of knew like the nuts and bolts about how to make this thing like actually do the things that it does, and Serac had like the vision, you know, kind of for like, and the dark ends that he kind of wants, the dark ends, you know, but like the ends that he wanted and his goal that he wanted to achieve. And I think like, to your point, Dustin, as far as like the touching thing, I think like, cause there were a lot of scenes where the brother was kind of like, he'd look like he was kind of in like a trance, like he'd sort of like seen something, or his mind was in other places. And so he's like, he'd put like a hand on the face, or he'd kind of try to like, you know, give him a little tap or something and kind of like snap him out of it. Maybe that speaks to something that you were talking about, that maybe that was like a character beat that they were kind of putting like into the show, like into their relationship as a whole, I think, you know.
Maybe lost in the machine. Who knows?
Yeah. Right. Seriously, man. Like the and the other scene, like the scene with the Brazilian president was fun, just because like I did love the touch where like the fly wouldn't keep bugging him a lot, and it was kind of it was like a little microcosm of like the solution that Serac was kind of presenting to him. It's like, you're sitting on this giant throne. You got all the protection that anyone could possibly ask for, but you can't but the most annoying fucking thing is this fucking fly. And you can't control that. I'm offering you a way to control. I felt like that was like a little bit of the text of what was.
When was the other time we saw the fly? Because I think that was actually something really important.
Ooh, okay. The last time that we saw a fly in the show?
Get killed in the show.
Okay.
Dolores swats it. She swats it on her neck after she says, "These violent delights have violent ends." I believe.
Okay. I got you. There you go.
She's having a conversation with Peter Abernathy, or it's after she shaves William. I can't remember.
One of those two, though. But yeah, like after like after she has like an encounter with one of those guys. Okay.
Yeah, it's something to do with death. I think it has something to do with death.
Right. And just like a fly is such like it's such like a fleeting kind of like example of like an id. Like give me something to fucking eat and throw up on and whatever that I'm gonna do like right now, because that's what flies do, right? I did just watch Cronenberg stuff. Remember, you're like, when was the last time you saw The Fly? And I thought you were talking about the Cronenberg movie, which I actually watched like 6 months ago. That movie's fucking rad. I absolutely love that movie. But also speaking of like movie references and stuff like that, kind of the big centerpiece of the episode was like this genre trip that Dempsey gives to Caleb, kind of in a moment where Dempsey Jr.'s like, oh, these guys are like gonna probably kill me. I'm gonna try to do something. Anything to them. Yeah, something to slow
I think he was just trying to run away. Like he was just like, well, like, because he knew he would like knock him on his ass.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't think he counted on Dolores being able to catch him.
Yeah. So well. Which, I mean, he should, because she's not
that bright, the poor boy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm like, he hits him with this genre drug, and we get like the one of like, I don't know, I'd say like close to maybe 35 of those trailer bass drops, the boom. Yeah. Like things like, we got so many of those, and I love, and it was like, it was a cool like little it was definitely like a kind of like a marker kind of to be put down, be like, something's gonna happen, like something's gonna change, something's gonna kind of shift or whatever. What did you guys think of genre, of the mechanism of it inside of the story, and just kind of what it was doing? What did you guys think?
I thought it was rude of him to be like, oh no, it's a party drug, I don't really know what it does. And then 5 minutes later, they're in the car, and he's like, oh, he's switching genres. Or it's like, buddy, when you're like, it's a drug, just be like, no, it just puts you in different genres. Like,
yeah.
He clearly knows that he's switching genres. I was like, dude, like she asked you what it does, and you're like, I don't even know what it does. Maybe it's meth. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I call bullshit on that. Just tell her what it does.
Right, yeah.
You know what it does.
He does seem, I mean, like Dempsey Jr. does seem pretty fucking lame, and he's like, I don't know what Molly does, like, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like, I don't really know what this. I could see him kind of being that guy. What did you think about it, Kyle?
Yeah, it was a great visual cue. I mean, along with the musical cue and kind of the direction they were taking us in each scene. I really love when Marshawn Lynch's character Giggle came and he's like, oh, man, I know what you're on. He's like, oh, what is this, John? He's like, no, this is fucking reality, man.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, oh shit. And then they kind of at one point says, wait until the last act.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a horror movie and it's gonna be fucking crazy.
Yeah,
but
right.
No, it's reality is the last act. That's the hard one, man. Like,
And
you got me.
Which is interesting because when Dempsey dies under the bridge, the last genre is horror, and he experiences his reality. And we don't. There's a lot more to Caleb that we don't know about. And I'm going to throw something out to the wall right now.
Ooh, what you got?
You guys ready for this? I think one of those divergences that Rehoboam calculated. I think Caleb was definitely part of them. He was perhaps part of the uprising in the Russian Civil War. He would still be young enough to have participated in that.
Sure.
And we do see kind of the flashbacks. I think he would have been too young to commit the assassination in Buenos Aires because that was like 20 or 30 years previous. But I believe he 100% killed his friend.
Oh, no shit. That he
definitely killed his friend for sure.
Ooh,
whoa,
I like that. That could be something, yeah.
And what he's experiencing is not unsimilar to what Charlotte Hale was. I believe that Charlotte Hale was re-educated in the same way that Caleb was. And that's why Charlotte Hale is trying to fight out of her body. And that's how Serac turned Charlotte Hale.
Okay.
So I think Serac knows a lot more than Dolores knows. Thinks that he knows, and I think Serac is letting her play into his hand. I think she's in big trouble.
Interesting. Yeah, there was a shot from the the coming soon trailers where Serac has like a fucking gun to Caleb's head, but he's like not pulling the trigger for some reason. I'm assuming they're going to have some type of a scene, and maybe that could feed into, or maybe that's something where it's like maybe they have a history or something like that, kind of to your point or whatever it was. Like that could be like an interesting.
The next episode title is called Decoherence as well, which actually, I don't want to get too complicated, but quantum mechanics.
Get the fuck out of town!
I don't know about that.
Quantum entanglement. For people that know what that is, interaction, something being in a different place. But one thing that they showed that actually they showed us a decoherence wave. So when the stock market, when Serac is showing Liam Dempsey the stock market, before it calculates out on the second-hand side, that's actually a decoherence wave. So the ability, it's going to, I think in the next episode, we're going to see a lot of how more behind that, but
sure.
Yeah, I think Serac has calculated quite a lot more than we think.
Right. Yeah. He gets flustered in this episode, but I think that he's going to pull out some big guns to try to regain some ground when it comes to, because Dolores has like all of the kind of offensive momentum at this point. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't he have like done a like alternate, like use his machine to figure out, okay, so in the event that all its information is revealed and people find out the truth, like in that event, what would happen then? So I'm sure he has like a plan B, a contingency where he's, I feel like he's kind of mapped out a bunch of different outcomes.
You would think that he would, yes.
Did you see that scene where Rehoboam is like the white and black thing, and there's that one scene where he pulls out the file, but there's like a bunch of different rings. There's like it's like almost like a tunnel of rings.
Yep.
You know it's crazy. I actually took a shot of that, and when Caleb and all of them are in the tunnel, and it almost fits exactly perfectly. Like in that tunnel, there's a circle.
Sure.
So I think Serac knows Caleb is the outlier and stuff like that. Like he's predicted stuff. But all those rings could be like different outcomes that Rehoboam perhaps calculated, and Serac is pulling like information on one of those possibilities or something.
Yeah. Somebody else actually just posted this in the comments, but have you guys heard the theory about Caleb actually being Serac's brother?
That would be wild. That would be pretty wild.
I was reading those theories, and it's because, like, I mean, why would they make such a big deal? His whole thing, who am I?
Right, totally.
Serac's brother was put in the re-education center. Oh my god.
Oh shit.
So like that could be real rad. But here's that
could be a nice little thing. Good shout out to Simon too, by the way.
Yeah,
that's a nice little thing.
If Simon messaged me after,
I really wanted to.
You blew my mind.
We want to get at what you're smoking over there, Simon, because that's
I had read that earlier, and I was going to bring that up, so it was like the perfect timing to bring that up.
Totally.
But my question is if that is true, do you think it was just like serendipity that Caleb and Dolores crossed paths, or was it purposeful? Did she know?
Right.
Was it predestined in some way? Did she have a decision?
Yeah, because he was there because of an app. Because of so.
Yeah, that's
did
true.
Serac put him there?
And the only reason he was on the app was because he was barred from other jobs. It's like
sure, there could be. Yeah, there could be like
now the Caleb mom scene like that. Like Caleb isn't her son. I'm convinced now.
Yeah.
So that woman isn't crazy then, I don't think.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, that could be. That's like he was like, well, or maybe he got taken off of his previous loop and got put into a new one.
Because we discussed the pillows, right? I'm going down tinfoil. Like there was the flower.
I love seeing Kyle unravel in real time. This is amazing. I'm so glad to be here for this.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, like next thing you know, we're gonna be putting our hand on his face trying to get him to come back to reality, right? You know? No, but so yeah, that thread is canon would be pretty goddamn interesting and cool, and it would kind of also feed into the as to why because if it was just like unless there's some further utility, significance, whatever, why it speaks to the significance of what Caleb is able to do, because we were talking about duality before, and the fact that, think about this, insofar as like Maeve is kind of unique, as in she is able to control hosts, right? She's kind of like, she's a master builder in that world, right? And then from what we were talking about before, if Caleb was the brother and he was the one that could kind of figured out how to make Rehoboam make it work, like he's almost like Maeve in the way that he's figured out how to manipulate the world that he inhabits. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. I actually think this theory is true, because now
it could be something, No,
I think it's true now, because I'm looking back at every single time Serac talks about an outlier.
Yeah.
There's a trailer with Caleb. I think that Caleb could be a host and could be Serac's brother.
It could be
Holy crap.
Yeah, it could.
That would make sense, because he talked about his brother being an outlier, right? He talked about the same thing, and then he talks about an agitator, and he talked about how his brother was not fit for the world, and Caleb wants to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, right.
And Caleb is not fit for the world. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of meat. There's a lot of meat on that bone. I'm going to throw some up here from Tyler, which I think, which bears it, it bears in mind. Why would Dolores have to take a bullet? I think maybe it's because she's like, he's not ready to know. And remember, remember at the very last line of the fucking episode, he goes, well, maybe I'm not like other people. And she's like, well, neither am I. Like saying that they're the same thing.
Yeah. But also, because if he had gotten hit with bullets and then was able to walk around fine, it would have blown his mind. And like they had shit to do in that moment, so she probably was like, "Yeah, we can't get into all that right now."
You're like you
But
got.
I don't think she knows. That's why I was asking that question.
That's
also
interesting.
To answer Tyler's question, because it looked fucking cool.
That's right. That's also
To like take a bullet and then just zip up that.
Zip up.
Pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, no way, man. No,
her
I mean,
outfit's so I love her. I want her outfit.
I know, right? No, they're right. She was wearing one of her jackets. Actually, Millie actually owns one of her jackets.
That little
There's like that one that's like sheer and then leather and then sheer and then leather. Yeah, sick. No, but it's just on the topic of looking cool. We can kind of move on just insofar as like the kind of the stuff that was happening within while he was tripping on genre itself. We go into like a film noir. We get like the kind of like the lone sexy 1940s sex going, and we go black and white, which I thought was fun. And then the next one, which was clearly like a send up to Apocalypse Now, like with Ride of the Valkyries and shit. Like that was that awesome, like he shoots the rocket and you think that he misses and then it comes
boomerang
missile. It turns into a drone. That was fucking awesome. I love that. That was so great. The even though I will say this is only because I think it was a really strong episode and I think it was really it was cool. I gotta say, Kyle, from our discussion last week, you primed me for some absolutely bonkers. She's like, man, this is going to be the trippiest fucking thing that ever happened. And it was cool, but like, I was kind of, it was fun, but a little tame, like just a little, like it would have been fun. Like, think about this. Wouldn't it be interesting if like the genre thing, like you get hit with the genre thing, things go to black and white, and then almost like a Snapchat face app, all of a sudden everybody has like old 1940s clothes. And instead of her machine gun, she's got like a Tommy gun. Like they could have done some really wild shit.
Yeah.
With the thing, but it was still incredibly strong. I loved how they used all the music to kind of signify those things. And it kind of brought just like the filmmaking, like the marrying of image and sound together to make like these moments. I thought it was still great, but I just do remember like I was ready for some wild shit, man. And it was good, but it just wasn't as crazy.
But do you feel that that's maybe because you're a little biased towards you're more of a visual guy? I mean,
you might absolutely be
hit me perfect.
Sure,
because I'm more in the auditory world. Like
totally.
It's very rare that a show does something so inventive with auditory cues.
Totally.
And when that does happen, this episode in particular was really impressive. And it was something that you don't see in any other show. And it's why HBO is still, this strong, this late in the peak TV game. They invented it. And they're still the top dogs, Netflix is coming for the crown, but man, like they know how to like give people the agency to make really good art.
Yeah.
Ramin Djawadi is really good at using leitmotifs.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we spoke about the cues, like I don't think there's anybody in the industry that's maybe Hans Zimmer. I don't know. But that's like maybe, you know what I mean? Like, just like some of the theme uses, I'm thinking back to Game of Thrones and the way they impacted me.
Sure.
I'm like, some of the strings he uses and some of the animals. I'm like, I'm just like hit.
Absolutely. Like, when the world goes back to normal, I will say this that I don't know if it does. We can speak from experience. If they do this again, and maybe they will once the prequels, once Fire and was it Fire and Blood? What's the name of it? Fire and Blood?
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. That's right. Sorry. Oh man, I get my nerd card taken away right there.
No, Fire and Blood is
it's
based off Fire and Blood.
Right. But when that comes back, and if they decide to do they remember when we went to go see basically Game of Thrones live, where you get to watch Ramin like conduct a live show.
I would love it.
If you get a shot to do that, Definitely go for it, Kyle. Even though it was one of those things
I saw him in Houston play Light of the Seven live.
There you go. Right. Exactly.
I was like,
yeah.
So they did the Winterfell theme, the Stark theme, and this girl, she had a violin, electric violin, and they literally turned her into a weirwood tree, and she went 20 feet in the air.
Yeah.
So
you did. Yeah. So it sounds like you did. It sounds like you did get to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I watched it.
Hell yeah. No, that shit was so fucking rad. But he definitely he's all over this one. And then like another one that kind of got like a big laugh out of me is when they started playing the love story theme that the old Ally McGraw Ryan, what the fuck is his name? Ryan.
Oh.
Ryan? What's his face? Like whatever.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, no, the Ally
the 80s guy.
Right. The Ally McGraw like kind of like the movie that like it was like a romance film that took the fucking world by storm.
When you hear somebody say like I love you means never saying I'm sorry.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
That's where that comes from.
Right. And so and it was but the thing about that was interesting was that the end, spoilers, but the end of that movie, the girl in the love story dies, which I'm wondering is like, ooh, is that like a little bit of a foreshadowing? And we got a couple of Doloreses to kill. Like I'll say that we got
Dolores is not making it out of this season.
We lost one Dolores.
We lost one Dolores.
I mean, I don't know. Can the Pearl survive?
I agree with Dustin. I don't think Dolores survives this season. She put the encryption key in Bernard, 100%. That's why Conalora says you can't die.
Yeah. You still have a part to play in this, you know.
And remember what Conalora showed him on the tablet? They showed him William's location.
Yep. Oh shit! So he's got to go.
I think Bernard is gonna get those big robots to break William out of prison.
Oh yeah!
We're gonna get full RoboCop, and I'm gonna be there for every second of it.
Yeah, I know we're gonna have Ed Harris. Ed Harris looks like he played an old RoboCop. Why don't we fucking why don't we cast that movie? Huh? You know, like
I think they're gonna reveal by the end of this season that William is the only human consciousness that can be transferred into a host body.
That would be pretty fucking wild.
And I think he's the only one that can save humanity. I really think so.
That would be pretty
and it would be crazy because Dolores put him there in prison. Yeah. Then he goes through this like metamorphosis, this kind of like purgatory like state where he experiences his sins. And then he comes out and he's wearing white now. And Dolores is wearing black. It's like fate that Dolores I don't know. It's so crazy.
I think you got something to. I think there's something to that because he's still locked up. He's still around, and there is like you do see one of those Ed 209 RoboCop riot police like punching through a wall or something like that. Definitely think like
and Serac has to know that Hale's a mole, right? Like
you would think so. I mean, like
he knows that's not the OG Hale.
Yeah, there's too many things like just be like, well, you kind of strangely went offline for about
like weird as shit.
Yeah, right. And like
when you guys said that he was going to use the big robots to break him out of jail, I'm like, what? The robots are going to get a tattoo of the prison's layout on its body and then get arrested and get committed to the same jail.
Oh my god! No, it's like
prison break joke.
That would be great. Or you get it's like that old Nick Cage Sean Connery movie, The Rock, where they got to get the old Sean Connery robot to break him back into the prison.
Welcome,
welcome
episode.
to Robin.
Them punching through a wall. Better episode.
Absolutely.
I didn't think there was that much tinfoil between the all of us. But hey, I'm buying it.
We got tinfoil for days. Yeah. Well, the other thing was, even though like I know there was never going to happen, but I remember when they did go into the noir one when everything went black and white, I was kind of waiting for Aaron Paul to kind of start talking like old Edward G. Robinson, like 1940s, like, and now we got to get out of here. Or those robots are going to get us. See, man.
That would be hilarious. That would be so funny.
We got to come over here. Dolores, come over with me, doll. We got to get ourselves down to the speakeasy. See, man.
What was the most surprising like genre for you? For me, it was definitely the Shining like theme that
Oh
came
my
out, and I was like,
Yeah, I loved it.
but the Ride of the Valkyries, you know, like that was
Killer.
like
Killer.
that was really like when I was like, oh yeah.
So good.
I never noticed how much a piano version of Space Oddity sounded so close to Evanescence's My Immortal.
Yeah, Morgan's like, oh, they're doing Evanescence, and I was like, Morgan, it's Space Oddity.
And then it kept going, and I was like, oh no, yeah, that's Bowie. And I was like, but
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
only
I love
a
it. No, I love
couple
it.
Yeah.
notes.
I can't
off.
unhear this.
No, and now and then like Aaron Paul and Dolores and Caleb and Dolores are a pretty angsty crew.
Yeah.
So they can do the back and forth like, can't wake up, wake me up inside.
No, My Immortal is
Oh, is that the wrong
different
one?
song.
Is
So
it?
it's not the new metal one. It's the
Oh
one where she's
shit!
just
All
playing
right.
because it's piano based and she's just singing. So it's
They
like,
look like they would fucking listen to new metal while they boned, though. They for sure do. Like
I'd
they
watch
like.
that.
I want a Ramin Djawadi tattoo cover.
Oh yeah.
Waiting for that one.
Oh,
Can I ask you guys a question though?
What you got, man?
So one thing that's interesting is, you know, when Maeve, so when she gets out of Westworld and she sees before she goes down the escalator, she sees the Mesa and she sees the woman that isn't her with the daughter. Remember when she's looking at that the screen before she goes down to the train?
Totally.
Yeah.
That is very, very similar, except the thing is on the ceiling. And it makes me wonder, since we haven't seen the last park yet, if there is still a possibility that this is Future World. Because that whole escalator scene, them going onto the train, and the scene before Dolores releases all the stuff in the train, the streaks, the orange streaks.
Yeah.
That is like the inside of Rehoboam, like I almost thought like a black hole pulling light inside of it. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know.
I can see that.
Something was really off about all of those scenes. Like it was like we're in the moment, we're experiencing Caleb's genre trip. That's what they want us to be focused on.
Sure, right.
But I don't know. There was kind of this weird similarity thing that was going on with Maeve and her getting out of the park, and maybe them. I don't know. Something was going on there.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to see her and Maeve like have like their first kind of like back and forth kind of confrontation. It looked like in the coming attractions, it looked pretty wild. Like Dolores is like kind of like naked and kind of like sitting there and kind of almost looks like she's being programmed again. Like I was getting, season 1 flashbacks a lot when we were looking at all that type of stuff. That was pretty interesting. But also going back to Bernard, what you were talking about with Bernard being, you said that what did you say before? That he basically has the like an encryption key or something like that. Because
Dolores sent the encryption key of all the data that Serac wants, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she also said she rebuilt him from memory. And I don't think she meant Bernard. I think she meant Arnold.
Sure.
Which has even more implications because now we're getting this reverse thing where Dolores is sacrificing herself, and now Arnold is like, because he had a flashback. Remember, he had a flashback to the kid before the rockets were thinking off. Like that's another thing that's really interesting. I'm like, why was that happening?
Totally.
Right? Why does he have that memory? So she's rebuilding. I think she rebuilt him with the memories that Bernard experienced before he had his fidelity. Oh my God, I'm a host.
Sure. Yeah. They had actually, and they also had like a pretty good. I liked the interaction between him and what were you calling the bodyguard, Dolores? What were you calling him?
Conaloris.
Conaloris. Yeah, I like that one. Dolores and like I've been loving all the Olorises that we've been able to manage to get in here in this show. But when there was like a nice little beat that they took when like he was talking about like, have you ever questioned anything that she's been asking you to do? And you kind of see he takes like a pause and kind of looks down, which again speaks to what you were talking about insofar as like the people that Dolores are inhabiting kind of are still sort of there and still kind of hold maybe obviously not a lot of sway, but they still kind of like are living within that experience and stuff like that. And I thought that was like I thought that was a cool beat, like a beat of doubt, you know what I mean? And I'm just kind of wondering if anybody
surprised in that scene that Serac hadn't figured out that was either a the inside person or like that whole explosion. You're like, how did Serac let that happen? Like
maybe he wanted it to happen.
Whoa.
Right.
He killed that cool like assassin lady. Oh man.
Yeah.
Palm Clementieff, who plays Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. She killed Mantis. Yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer. I would have liked to have seen her kind of like do a couple more things, but it was
cool ass shoes.
Kind of happened. Yeah, dude,
those shoes I could never wear them. I was like, man, I got cankles. I can't pull off shoes like that.
Same, Mo, for sure. I remember. Yeah, so like when. Now that was another thing that they had, like, so at the end of the trip, you're like, what genre is this? This is reality, like, et cetera, so forth. And then, we talked about like, why does Dolores need to take a bullet and stuff like that. And we kind of talked about like, why that is. A, it looks cool. I think that's number one. B, just because now but also now that they have to have the conversation where it's like, she has to tell him that she's a host, that she's a robot. And then I think that might lead us to the big fucking reveal, which is kind of what we talked about before. But I think that, because I remember I was just like, wait a minute, does he not know? And like, if you think about it, like, because she was injured, but he never saw how she got injured. Like, he didn't see her take like 10 bullets or whatever the fuck it was. You know what I mean? Like he just thought that, oh, she was injured and I helped her out and blah blah blah. She's just like really strong and a really good shot and really rich. You know what I mean? Now they have to have that conversation.
Yeah, in that scene when she kind of steps in front of him, they show it from the back where they show the exit of the bullet through the back of her leather jacket for a second.
Yeah, so where'd the bullet go?
And I expected her to turn around and him to be like
gut shot. Yeah.
Totally. That's what I 100% thought, that she had done that for nothing, and that Caleb was dead in that moment. That was my thought, or at least that he would be injured or whatever.
Right.
So it was kind of a little weird that instead she just kind of turned around and was like, "Whoop, it's all good. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally.
You know what I think we're seeing is I think we're seeing the reverse of the William love story, and I think Dolores is going to end up sacrificing herself. Because Caleb is going to go to the absolute limit, like young William did. And that's why she's going to end up breaking out William, because she's going to realize, you know what I mean, that him and Caleb are so similar.
Sure.
And because remember the absence of field episode, the meaning of the part in the whole, that's kind of the thing, like the discovery of free will and this deterministic thing that they're kind of making clash this season. So I think that we're going to see some more of that. And I think that's really interesting, because they're going to, like, she's taking him to WestWorld. That's where she was born. Like, that's a pretty big step in their relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Like, if I'm taking someone,
she's taking him home to meet the folks.
You know what I mean?
Her dad is still stuck in a loop.
He's like, I don't know. You just don't take someone on a trip with you.
Yeah, it's a big step in a relationship when you take someone to the hometown and stuff like that, and to the old haunts. I actually, and it is, for as much as we've talked about like how we've dug like the pivot that this show has taken and stuff like that, when we do go back to WestWorld and we walk over, when we go back there, it's gonna be cool. Like, I'm gonna be like, oh, I like that. This is cute to come back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I do want to see more of Warworld. I think that, Warworld was cool.
Yeah, Warworld, Westeros World, like all that shit.
Still in its beta testing, isn't it? Because it doesn't exist yet. It's just exists in
a simulation.
Simulation. So I don't know if they actually have a world.
Well, they showed it in the
trailer, yeah.
Oh, so they do. They did build it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were just like putting Maven there, and it's like, oh, this is just like a
just running her on like a screensaver. Like
they showed her in the trailer in Warworld, and then they also showed her in the Valley Beyond in the trailer.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, so that could be
like, what? Okay.
There could be some fun.
I hope Maeve makes it there.
Yeah,
I hope
totally.
that, I mean, as much as I love that character,
Mhm.
just because I'm just like, man, let her go be in the
She's-
Valley Beyond with her daughter.
She's getting like kind of like a Jon Snow vibe where I'm just like, give this motherfucker a weekend off.
I know, right? Just
You know
let
what I
her-
Like this guy just wants like all this guy wants to do. Like Jon Snow would be like, put me in quarantine. I don't give a fuck. I want to sleep for three fucking years after this shit. You know what I mean?
want it.
I don't want it. Yeah, right.
That's hilarious.
No, one other thing before, like, you know, as soon as they had like that awesome the Shining score kind of hit, which I just get chills every fucking time I hear that piece of music. Doesn't matter where it's put, doesn't matter in what context I hear it. It's so awesome. But then I gotta say, the homie who was just sitting when they had that scene where right before they killed Dempsey Jr. and that homie in the business fucking suit and jacket just standing in front of the ocean, just kind of blankly staring off, is a fucking mood. Like that shit. Like I was like, dude, I fucking feel you, because I'll go out my bay windows just like with my cup of coffee in the morning, and I'm just standing there, just like looking out into the, you know, my neighborhood or whatever, and I'm just like, man, shit's crazy, dude.
How many people in chat felt that? Because I felt that, like Sean.
Totally was.
I was like, oh man, this guy realized like he's mortal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like and like he, you know, and it's just like it definitely like a lot of those background touches I thought were kind of fun, like just like what happened once people got the world's worst chainmail or the best chain email.
Best if you were
it depends, you know what I mean? Like
a down
I'm gonna call him what's a cool guy, what's a good guy name?
Good guy name?
Like Henry?
Jerome. Sure. Oh, Jerome.
It's like Henry somewhere.
Jerome.
Henry Jerome is there, and he's just having the best day. He's like, yeah, he's gonna get this like really nice email where it just says nice stuff about you.
Just starts kind of walking a little bit like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah,
what's up?
Yeah,
how you doing?
Like,
how you doing?
Your problem is this says I die in my sleep. Like, no, this says I die with a belly full of wine and a young girl's mouth around my cock. I don't know about you guys.
What more do you want?
Right.
That's it. I'm signing off, everyone. I don't think we can get any better.
Right. Cut off his manhood and feed it to the goats. You know what I mean? Like all that shit. But yeah, I thought it was good. I'm glad to be done with the Dempsey Jr. character. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, all right, you were the means to an end. And then like the shit that he was saying, like he was getting so close to saying like you people, like type of shit. You know what I mean? Towards the end of it, it was
like
crazy.
fascist. It was like fascist. It was
just like how it's like we can't fix you. Like, you know, I was just like, wait a minute, like is this guy like the governor of like a red state or something like that? Like this is getting fucking weird.
I made a comment on that in my breakdown, my episode review, and someone said, "You said the word fascist." I'm like, yeah. Did you see how he was referencing people, humans, like they were cattle?
Yeah, like it was literally like they're like products to be dealt with and stuff like that. And he kind of, because it's one of those things where it's like he's kind of played like this kind of this ineffable fucking like dipshit the whole time, and you're like, you know, he's just kind of a nerd and never really had control until that moment. And I was like, okay, Orange is the new black, shoot this motherfucker, and like let's fucking.
And then you realize exactly, because Serac, wouldn't he have known how he was going to turn out? So he was like looking at the sun and been like, if we get rid of his dad, this kid will totally understand, and he like gets what we're going for. So it's like
totally
this kid gets
it.
This entitled prick totally gets it. Right?
Yeah, he said that to two black people, says Mr. Duck.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I was like, oh, this is getting like the coding within this last moment is definitely not something
He was already unlikable, and this episode he just kept getting more and more and more and more unlikable.
Totally.
And
absolutely.
like when he died, I was like, good.
Yeah.
He was worth $315 billion. How much of that did he actually earn?
Right. Totally. Absolutely, man. Yeah, fucking eat the rich, motherfuckers. Like that's what we're all about that shit. But going on to so it seems like I'm not exactly sure because I don't know if it was the coming attraction or like the next on Westworld, if that was all from the third episode or if that was kind of like a composite, like a cut of of everything from the last three.
That was new because she was in a fight and she never fought them before.
That's true. Oh
that was all new footage.
Or I mean, I meant like if they're calling like images from the last three, all three, as opposed to this next one. I would imagine so because they're like it's only 3 more episodes left, man. It's like
it's crazy.
We're almost fucking done. Like it's kind of
decoherence, which is past pawn, which is a huge chess move, which is that has huge implications, and then crisis theory.
Yeah,
like, they're all going to be so good. Oh my god, juicy!
Totally, man, totally. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's been really, it's definitely been fucking fun. And we're gonna have a jaunt back to Westworld, and then I think we're gonna have like the next kind of big. I think we're gonna have we might have that big revelation with Caleb. I mean, that might.
It's crazy because Dustin said like Aaron Paul this episode. Just to think that Aaron Paul hasn't been the main dude of a show is like, to think of that. And now he's like just coming to his own in the show. That's how many talented actors and actresses are on the show. It's like,
absolutely. Yeah. The pedigree of this shit is pretty fucking staggering. Like even when I wasn't in love with the show, I was always like, this shit is ridiculous. Like just like the benchmark of just the quality of production has been pretty fucking great. But with this one, it's been so much. It's just had a lot of juicy stuff to chew on. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm super stoked. I couldn't be more excited for the next couple of episodes for sure.
So here's a question as people who've kind of come back into the fold. I know Morgan and I and Sean, you said last week how you were pretty hard on season 2.
I was.
What can we do as fans of this season? Fingers crossed that the whole season stays as good. To evangelize, what can we do to like spread the word? I mean, this season's great.
Yeah.
Like, I think, maybe, talking about it amongst our friends or getting people to come back and watch this season is really, I implore everybody who's watching this video right now, if you're enjoying the season, tell people.
Yeah.
Like get people back on board because I want to see more art like this. I want to see more shows like this.
Totally. Yeah. It's definitely kind of, it's right of the ship in a lot of ways. And I think, it just kind of, as we know, being Game of Thrones fans, you can't have a banger every single time. You know what I mean? Like every once in a while, like, I think every great show has like a season that maybe doesn't quite stack up, but it's sort of
like the whole school season of The Wire.
Oh, no! Are you talking about?
I knew that would get you.
The Wire is one of the GOAT shows.
Oh my god! I mean, like, no. The fourth one, the one with all the kids, that's the best one, man. No, I know what you mean. Like, everybody hates season 2. Everybody hates season 2 of The Wire.
Is that the dock workers season?
Yeah, everybody kind of that and 5 are the 2 ones.
That's because McNulty's an idiot in that one. Well,
yeah. Are you talking about in season 5? Are you talking about in season 5? In season 5, he's an idiot, or in season 2? He's kind of an idiot.
He's always an idiot. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was just going to say,
good police, but he's an idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those. I've had a couple of friends like when they've seen us doing this, where I'm like, we're doing a fucking Westworld live stream, or whatever, and they're like, oh man, like I was thinking about getting into it, but I heard that it season 2 does a downturn, and I'm just like, no, I mean, like it's still entertaining, it's still good, and it's still solid, but it's just not as much as the first season is, but it bounces back. So yeah, I think it's like it's one of those things where you just got to be like, you got to just tell people. I mean, like like what is it? The dope dope shows have come to dope ends or whatever it is. Like, and like that's kind of like what you have to be like. It's like it's good. It's worthwhile, especially right now. You know,
I've tried really, really hard, but it's still not working. It's like it's kind of shocking. But I guess too, I do understand some of what they say to me in that. Like we're all nerds. We love this like high art show, whatever we want to call it. You know, there's so many intricacies like that we look for. Like I go back and watch every episode like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, yeah, man, that was a great episode of television. But some people, they only watch an episode once, so it's like they don't. You know what I mean? They don't get as caught on by like the stuff you might be looking for, like us, like Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that. So that's kind of it's kind of a bummer, man. I am crossing my fingers that these last 3 episodes are like just spectacular. And
what more do they want? This season has boobs. It's got dragons. It has sword fights.
They do.
It's got all the things.
It's got all the things. Like
it literally has all 3 of those.
Yeah,
so, you know,
right. And the other
but look at what the #1 show in the U.S. is: Tiger King.
Yeah.
Also has boobs, sword fights, dragons. That bitch Carol Baskins.
It's got that bitch Carol Baskins. Like but it's like it's got a guy with like fucking evil clown juggalo legs. Like
That's what we're missing.
Yeah, they gotta make a Tiger King world for next season.
Oh my god!
Where you just go to Oklahoma.
No,
that would be no. That would be sick because then you could go pet all the cubs, but no real cubs.
They never age. They
never age, and they're not actually an endangered animal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just make more.
So that's what. So it's like.
But could you survive the idiots? Is the question.
That's true. Or maybe like everybody. It's like, oh, what happened to him? He went to Tiger King World and he got sapped and got his arm ripped off. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, no.
He fell in love and got married and blew his own brains out.
We know he's straight, but he married a guy host. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really wild. All right, so I think that this is actually a really great video. I'm so glad that we did this. We got to watch Kyle's mind get blown in real time.
That was my favorite thing that's happened in a really long time.
That was really great. That was awesome.
That was one of my favorite parts of our friendship so far.
Right.
I hope we have many more moments like that.
It's the highlight, you know what I mean? It's on the highlight reel for sure. All right. Well, anyway, we just want to say to everybody that we really appreciate y'all hanging out and everything like that. Want to make sure that if you like this content, if you like theories, like anything like the shit that you've seen today, you got to go over to this man's channel. Go over to this man's channel, Azor Ahype. You can find him on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, everything. Azor Ahype across all social media platforms. He's also got a Patreon too. If you really like what he's doing, you got to hit up that Patreon. That's one way that like us people that work from home try to fucking be content creators. That's like how we're able to kind of keep these things rolling out in the ways that we do through this pandemic. I want to say thank you to Dustin and Morgan. Thanks a lot for hanging out, y'all. We appreciate you and love you. And shit, man. I mean,
I want to say thank you to Comcast for finally fixing my internet.
Yeah,
so I can be here with you today.
Your internet went down, dude.
In the middle of a pandemic, what are they thinking?
What are they thinking?
I think you're bad enough, Comcast.
I know,
that's
right?
all we have. Well, luckily, Animal Crossing is on my Switch, so it's not on internet.
Yeah, they fixed it pretty quick, but I was really panicking that I couldn't be here with you, but I'm glad that I was able to make it.
There you go. Hell yeah. We pushed it a little bit, but we do weekly. We are back here on WestWorld Wednesdays every Wednesday, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. We pushed it a little bit so we can make sure that you guys had to. I'm really glad that we did because it was a great conversation. So
episode 7 is supposed to be the best episode of the season. I say y'all should come on my channel maybe after that one. We can do like a double one for the last 2 or something like that. I think the last 2 are going to be pretty juicy.
I think we should. We'll talk about that but make sure that you subscribe and so you can stay up to date on all of those types of things so you can keep up to date on that. Go over to Azor Ahype, House Burlington, keep it here. But we appreciate y'all and we'll talk to y'all later, okay? Bye.
Bye.
Woo-hoo!